For the Chapter 4 project. So as before, again, we need to grab the same link to the Google Doc, only the Google Doc here. And just once you are ready, go ahead and submit it here. Again, this one counts as a test grade. This is also a good chance for you to look over everything and look at your final comments and revisions and make sure that you're hitting all of the criteria. So I will be grading you according to this rubric. So first off, overall formatting, style, and technical elements worth 5 points. Make sure that when you have shared all of your links with me, they're shared with commenting privileges, not just viewing and editing. Make sure that everything is in Times New Roman font with 12-point typeset. It's double spaced properly without extra spaces. And make sure that you have all of your section headers. Again, that's abstract, introduction, methods, results, discussion, conclusion. Your introduction is worth 5 points. Again, you need to start with our statement of purpose from task 3. Minimum of 4 sentences, but since you had to kind of come up with at least 4 ideas, that should be easy to hit. In those 4 sentences, you need to explain the topic of your survey, identify your population of interest, and explain why this topic is important. In your methods, you need to state your means of sampling as Google Forms. You need at least 1 demographic question, at least 8 data gathering questions. Remember, you need at least 5 multiple choice answer options for each data gathering question, the same number of answer options for all of your data gathering questions. You also should include a URL or a link to your Google form. You need to assign your point values and align each answer option to every question, and make sure that all of that is included in the scoring key. This is one of the bigger sections since this is where a lot of your work comes. This is worth 20 points. Calculating your results is worth the next 20 points. So again, you need to state your best measure of center. Again, mean or median usually. You also need to say what number it is for all of your results overall. You also need your best measure of spread, usually standard deviation or IQR for all of your results. And you need your histogram for all of your results. And then you also need to repeat that process for each and every subgroup that you identify. So if you asked about freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, then you are going to need 5 measures of center, 5 measures of spread, and 5 histograms. 1 for freshmen, 1 for sophomores, 1 for juniors, 1 for seniors, and those are all on top of your overall results. And then your discussion section where you explain what you found, that is the last big bulky part of your points. That's going to be the 20-point section here. We need to explain the descriptive meaning of the best measure of center for your overall results according to your scoring key. So that's where I said that my typical student has neutral feelings about homework. You also need to explain the meaning for the best measure of spread. Again, you need to include the upper and lower typical scores. So again, if I look back at my project, that in each section I said that if I'm using the IQR, give me 1 second here, pulling up my survey at the moment so I can look and see what my results are. So overall results, I had a median value of 24. My IQR went between 22 and 26.5. So between 22 and 26.5, that still landed all of my students in the neutral feelings kind of area. And again, repeat that process for each of your subgroups. Make sure, again, that if you asked about freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, you have those explanations present in your discussion, in addition to your overall big group results, and explain what the results mean for the typical MA community member. Then finally, our conclusions and abstract. That's the next 20 points altogether. Your conclusions, again, need to briefly restate your results, explain what the results mean for the population of interest, and explain what the results mean for the greater MA community. That's going to be 15 points. And then since the abstract is mostly just stating parts from everything else, that is 5 points. Don't worry about the properly formatted. That should have been erased earlier, since everything else, the proper format comes in the first one. It needs to be about a paragraph, between 100 and 500 words in length. Again, that's going to just sort of naturally happen based if you followed all of the descriptions and explanations of how you're supposed to do the abstract. You get in that 100, 500 words, you'll explain the topic or the purpose of your survey, why it's important, and what you found very briefly. And then the final 10 points are going to be based on peer grading, how you guys grade each other on this project. So take some time, make sure that your project hits all of those points, and then go ahead and submit your link.